With this new vision, you decided, you know what, I can't step into this unless I personally transform. What have you done to prepare yourself to lead our team into this unknown territory, into the new vision?
There's several components to that. I was very honored that I got to be the person who shared our vision statement with our team for the first time. And we are a faith-based organization, so that was couched into a message, of faith and growing our faith individually, because we believe that's what we need to be doing in order to create this disruption. But as a leader here, leading other leaders in order to lead the team to be about this disruption, like we're always looking at how we need to grow, because it's all about growth as leaders and the challenge of growing as leaders. So here, as leaders, we have a construct we use in order to assess each other. And we look at our leaders, we look at ourselves year in and year out on how we're growing in three main areas: casting vision, relationships, and results, driving results, building relationships, casting vision. And what we talk about is, as a leader, you should be growing in all three of those areas at all times. You should always be transforming as an individual in order to grow in those areas. And there are a lot of ways you can do that. You can listen to great podcasts, you can read good books, which we recommend all of the time, and those things are great. I personally believe that you need to be in the Word, because I am a person of faith, and I'm seeking God for a Holy Spirit transformation is what I want, and I encourage people in that. But we've been looking lately a lot at some teaching that we've really been studying around just stages of having power and influence. I think everyone in every walk of life has a certain level of power and influence. And when you're born, you have none. But as you grow up and in your life in general, but then as you start a career and as you grow in your career, hopefully you're moving from stage to stage. And, sometimes you have a certain level of power and influence just by who you're associated with. I was definitely in that place early on in my career here at Ramsey. But you want to move on into greater stages of power and influence. You want to develop having power and influence by having the right title and position. But you want to grow past that. You want to reach stage 4, which is having power and influence by being the knowledge and the expert, like by having knowledge and expertise. You're the subject matter expert. Sometimes you have a seat at the table because you're the subject matter expert, regardless of your title or position. And that's phenomenal. That means you've done the hours, you've done the work, you've learned the things. But the hardest thing you'll ever do in your adult life is to grow from that stage, knowledge and expertise, to stage 5, which is having power and influence by having strategic passion and purpose.
So you're saying it starts with, okay, you've got a title, you're, executive vice president, great.
Yes.
You report to Dave Ramsey. That's really cool. And so you have influence and power because of that.
Yeah, and I want to say that's okay, because if you obtained that title, that position, you probably earned it.
Which you did. But you're saying it becomes more powerful when you can move through these stages and you go to now being an expert. And beyond that, you have strategic passion. What does that look like?
You have to, what I tell people is to grow from having a certain level of power and influence because you have knowledge and expertise. Growing from that to the stage where you actually have strategic passion and purpose is so hard, because you actually have to become a different version of yourself. You have to do things that make you really uncomfortable. And we've probably talked about that here before, but I just believe that you can incrementally grow as a leader and as a person over a period of time by listening to good podcasts and reading good books and just becoming a better version of yourself. But to transform, to reinvent yourself, you actually have to become good at things you've never been good at before. And so a lot of our leaders here, as you can imagine, they might be great at casting vision and they might be great at building relationships, but they're not real good at driving results, really rolling up their sleeves and making results happen, as one example. So what we're saying is, you've got to figure out how to get good at that thing. So what do you need to be doing that makes you feel like you're going to throw up because it makes you so uncomfortable? That's the thing you need to be doing in order to grow in that area. And what will come of that transformation is you do start to have strategic passion and start to have vision you didn't have before, and you have a purpose. Like, oh, this is why I'm on the earth, right? And that affects your entire life, not just your leadership, not just how you carry yourself in your role at work.
Well, you've definitely stepped into that stage, and I've got to watch that over the last 12 to 18 months as you've really dug into this and reinvented yourself. What would you say is the difference between old Suzanne a few years back, who had a lot of power and influence, was a great leader already, to the new Suzanne?
Thank you, George. Here, I don't know. There's so much. I was really lazy. When I say that, I'm being a little bit harsh on myself, but I think it's important.
You're not saying you didn't work hard. This is
Right.
a different kind.
I was lazy in the sense that I just was really comfortable. I love being in the background. I love being behind the scenes. We talk here a lot about there are different areas of your leadership where you need to be driving something. Sometimes you need to be directing something. Sometimes you need to be serving, like on a committee. So serve, drive, direct. Well, I was really happy directing or serving. I didn't want to be out front driving things. I didn't want to be on stage in front of 1,000 team members. I didn't want to be the one getting the credit for stuff. I have guys that report to me that are really smart and really capable. I've always been really comfortable with them being in the limelight and getting all the credit. And I was really challenged a few years ago to flip the script on that. And I've been given a lot of opportunity to speak in front of our team, sometimes in front of our EntreLeadership crowd. And I get so nervous and so uncomfortable. I really do not enjoy that, but I force myself to do it because that is how you transform. And that's the biggest difference between me a few years ago and me now, is that I am a lot more in the limelight and I am a lot more visible to our team, which puts a responsibility on me. And it forces me to be constantly journaling and thinking about our organization and where we're headed so that I can cast vision. So if I'm in front of people, I have something to say.
So what has been the result of all of that as you've gotten in front of people? And obviously I've got, the feedback from, hey, Suzanne did this devotional and it was amazing and it inspires people, and especially the women on the team who can see a woman in leadership really shine and go, wow, this is what strategic passion and purpose looks like. It really is inspiring. But what have the results you've seen from your leadership team and the whole organization?
A couple things. You hit on one, is that I feel like our team is a lot more connected to me than they were before. They feel like they know me. And you cannot put a price on that as a leader of any size organization, for your team to feel connected to you as one of the top leaders or the top leader of your organization. And you have to be visible and you have to put yourself out there in order for them to feel that connection. And that's a subject for another day. But another thing that I feel like has happened is that the leaders that I work with have been inspired, and I've probably pushed them really hard too, to transform on their own. The folks that have been on this journey with me are different today than they were a few years ago in unique ways, and they're casting vision they didn't have before, and they're taking this company down roads we would have never thought to go down before, to cause the disruption that we all want to cause. And so it's been really inspiring. They inspire me to continue to stay on this journey and continue to transform and become more of who God's really called me to be.
Yeah, that's incredible. Well, I know a lot of leaders listening, they may be where you were a few years ago, where they may have gotten a little bit lazy, not in the fact they don't work hard, but in the fact they're not driving all of this vision. They've got the title, they have the power and influence, they're leading a team, and they go, all right, I've made it. Why do I need to continue to transform, Suzanne? What do you say to someone like that?
Oh my gosh, life's too short for that. I regret how many years I spent with that mindset. I don't care how much success you've achieved. I don't care how great your company is. It can always be greater. You were put on this earth for a reason. And hopefully what you're doing every day is what you were called to do and what you're passionate about. If not, go figure that out. But hopefully that's what you're doing. And gosh, the impact you're having can always be so much greater than whatever impact you're having today. And so do the hard work. Get really uncomfortable. Set aside time as often as you can throughout every given week to be really by yourself, journaling, hopefully reading the Bible, and read good books that make you think different and have a bigger impact on the world and have a bigger impact on your team and inspire them, and then they'll turn around and inspire you. Life's too short for anything else.